Three. Hello and welcome back to the Future Talks conducted by Prayaana Labs. My name is Chelsea Sunil and I'll be your host for the day. Now I'm going to begin with an introduction to Prayaana. Prayaana is a unique employability, entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem for women. Prayaana Labs give wholesome career support services right from career counseling, training, mentoring and recruitment services all coming under one umbrella. So do check us out at www.prayaana.org. And in case you like what you see, please feel free to join us by registering at prayaana.in or by downloading the Prayaana app. Now, this is basically a community hub. It's a place where women can get together and showcase their ideas, their thoughts, and even their queries. Now, the idea behind the platform was to create a space where women can get together despite their geographical locations and boundaries. Now, we will be launching hubs in each of the locations so that you guys can organize events and even go on ventures together. So, don't forget to download the Prayaana app. It's available in both the Google Play Store as well as in the Apple Store. Now, this is Prayaana Collective. Prayaana Collective is a venture of Prayaana. It's unique in the attribute that it is India's first e-commerce platform that's dedicated to the empowerment of women. The platform is uniquely designed with an attractive affiliate marketing model where all the customers are given an opportunity for lifetime savings and earnings. So, in case you're looking for authentic handmade products, we have plenty of those made by extremely talented women. So, be sure to check us out at www.pracore.com. Now, before we go into today's session, in case you guys have any queries while the session is going on, please feel free to post it then and there as a comment in a live chat box below, and we'll get back to you at the end of the session. So today's session is going to be interactive. Now, it's going to be led by Mr. Krishna Kumar, who's the CEO of Green Pepper. Now, he's not an unfamiliar face. He has done a session before, and he'll be joined later on by the CEO of Prayaana Labs, Ms.Chandra Vadhana. And the session today is on the topic how to start your own gig. Now, regarding Mr. Krishna Kumar, he's the co-founder and CEO of Green Pepper, which is founded in 2007. And it is now a go-to hiring platform for tech companies. He's also the co-founder of Jump Frog, which is a video production and marketing platform for aspiring companies. So a very, very talented man. A very warm welcome to you, sir, on this bright Saturday morning, and over to you. Hello, so your mic is off.
Let's see. Okay, great. Are we back?
Yeah.
Back? Okay. Great. So thank you so much. It's the second time, and I'm so happy to be back here on Prayaana platform, talking to you, guys. Last time we spoke about remote working. The next is gig economy. I mean, this is like a natural progression of what's happening in the world. We saw the last couple of months is almost like 53 or 54th day of a lockdown across India and across the world. We have been seeing this for last couple of months now. Now, if you look at this was the best time for many professionals, many entrepreneurs to think what is important for them. How can they reinvent themselves? How can they reflect on what they were doing? Maybe look at new priorities, isn't it? So the first thing which anybody serious about their own life, or maybe their business, or maybe what they want to do, will think how to use this time. How to use this time to be a new individual, right? When I say new individual, the old individual is not bad, but the point is to reinvent as a new individual, right? Having said that, one thing which why I suggested this topic, to Prayaana was, I strongly believe that gig economy is going to be much more bigger and stronger in the coming days. I'll tell you why, and then we will go to why we all should, look at it seriously. Even if you're an enterprise leader, even if you're a skilled professional, even if you're a business owner, why we should look at gig economy more seriously. I mean, these are things which I want to share with you, and then of course we go to sharing and structuring how to start your own gig. Okay, I hope we are okay with that. First of all, I think gig economy was always there. If you look at going to a doctor, okay, what he's doing is a medical gig, isn't it? We go get his appointment. Most of the hospitals will charge you a small fee, like maybe 200 rupees or 300 rupees. And what do we get out of that? We get a 15-minute or 20-minute diagnosis of an expert doctor who has spent years of time, practicing medicine, meeting many people like us, and sharpening his skills of diagnosis. So if we can buy that service, if we can buy that medical service of meeting a doctor at 300 rupees, for meeting him for 15 minutes, and he asks you the most relevant questions, and we can share what we want to tell him, and then we get exactly what we want. There is nothing which we don't want in the service. What we want is the person should listen to you, do the diagnosis, and then we get the prescription. We go to the pharmacy and get it, right? So this is the most beautiful thing about the gig. Now imagine getting a doctor, to solve your problem, maybe health problem, and you pay a very minuscule fee for that activity and get your prescription, right? So the beauty of the gig is that we get the best of the individual who has spent a lot of time on skilling and developing it, and that's the way the gig economy works. So you may be thinking, hey, this is absolutely um, exploitative. Sometimes you may even think that gig economy is exploiting people, but COVID-19 has changed the way we look at gig economy, because you see that across sectors there are a lot of I would say serious level of retrenchment happening, right? It might be layoffs, it might be salary cuts, it might be job under serious review. I mean, these are all very threatening situations, right? For example, for any employee, this is a very threatening situation. So he is thinking like, hey, I've been working with this company for a long time, I've been asked to cut my salary, that's fine, but my job is also under threat. And then how do I use my skills? How do I structure my skills so that it can be marketable, it can be made marketable, and it can be sold, and there are I have to find the paying customers for it. So this is what most of us are like thinking. Now if you ask me, like the last 50 days I've been talking to many professionals, many entrepreneurs, and all of them are now going back to something what we call as the hands-on, right? What do you mean by hands-on? In a business, we become hands-on when we do things ourselves. And when we try to leverage team members, we have a team, we leverage their skills, and we get this stuff done, right? That's a different thing altogether. But now people are coming back, to doing things by themselves. So recently I was talking to a very senior marketing leader of a product company in Bangalore, and I was surprised. He's paid at very high salaries, but I was surprised to hear from him that he has started learning Adobe After Effects. He has already done his Adobe Premiere course. He is trying to build hands-on skills because as part of his job, he saw that a lot of video production is happening for the marketing activities, and it is time to do it hands-on. Right? He might take a lot of time, probably, considering his job to reach a level of a professional editor. But at the same time, what he's building is a skill which is handy, which he need not depend on anybody else. But at the same time, he can use this any point. Maybe it is imperfect at this point in time, but he can use the skill when he is ready for it. So it's skilling is the key thing for any kind of gigs. You look at similarly, I'll give you an example of a doctor. So why I'm giving examples like doctor or let's say for example an architect is that these are examples which are familiar to us, and then we come to the real gig economy. No, you look at lawyer. What does the lawyer do? Like we go to a lawyer and talk to him about a problem, and he comes up with specific solutions, and he drafts agreements or creates specific documents to solve your problem, right? And you pay for that particular project. So like a short project, and you pay for him, and you're paying for his skill, his expertise, his competence for doing that, and also the contextual knowledge. And the reputation the lawyer has got in that particular area actually helps us to pay him the fee. Now, being a lawyer, chartered accountant, architect, you look at the cost accountant, auditors, there are recruiters, digital marketers. They all operate in a format of short projects. At the same time, short projects powered by their skills, their ability to execute projects. So, having said that, I would say there is why people are moving to gig. People are moving to gig for many reasons. One is that it's very difficult once you start doing your own thing to get back to something called employment, because the employment is once you taste the freedom, it's very difficult to go back to employment. So people who are skilled people, who wants freedom, they would prefer to do short projects and paid instantly. If you agree with me, this there is a lot of ownership of work. I mean, imagine there is nobody to blame in a gig, right? We go straight to doing your project, and your project is like the true expression of yourself, right? It's like what you are. The work you do is what you are in real. So you put your the best into it. You put your heart into it, and the customer knows, because you're also putting something called the skin in the game. You're putting your reputation in the game, and you never compromise on the quality. So that's the beauty of a gig. And I'm sure instead of working with big teams, large companies, there will be a time where super specialists would be sought after by big companies. So why I'm telling you this is that this is a time to start thinking about looking at your own skills, converting it into gigs. And when I say gigs, it's like paid gigs which can help you consistently to grow your income, right? So it's skill based. It's very A to Z, like it's not going on. It maybe you get repetition of repeat work. It's all about getting more income from probably the same client coming going in. The cycle continues like that. So in the recruitment business, we know that start a client and it's like one project is, so there is a unit of work which we deliver, right? One hire, it's like a unit of work, and you decide how much cost you've incurred to deliver that project, right? To deliver that hiring, or to place that person, or maybe to hire the person for the company, and hey, how much we have got. So that's the margin of that. So basically, every gig has got something called the unit economics. I'll come to why unit economics is so important, because people start doing many things without understanding what the unit economics of a gig is. But maybe to start, you don't need that, but later on you would definitely need it. But this is a thought which we should always have. Coming to the starting of a gig, it's very, very easy nowadays to start a gig. You just have to figure out one of your true interests which you would like to do on a daily basis. So always make the gig something like a natural habit, because the moment we start doing something, and if you need a little bit of willpower, you need a lot of pressure from outside, you need revenue pressure to do it, then that's not the right kind of gig which you should do. Because If something is very natural to you, right? For example, if design comes very natural to you, if teaching natural to you, if content writing is natural to you, if you love doing video editing, it's natural to you. If you love doing sales, it's natural to you, right? If you do fitness programs, it is very, very natural to you, right? If you love talking to people on counseling, it is very natural to you. If you love doing photography, it is very natural to you. So doing what you really are naturally doing, I mean, which doesn't require a lot of pressure, which do not require, something like willpower. Like, you can't do willpower based activities every day, right? But something which is very, very natural to you. So I'm asking, what is that specific thing which is very natural to you? And that is the area which you can build a gig on. I'll tell you why. Because it is not the market opportunities, it is about how you are as a person, which matters most in the gig. I mean, you might have a lot of opportunities in different areas in the world, right? But how will you be doing it on a daily basis? Will you be doing that activity? So, for example, when people talk about opportunities, I ask this very small, very simple question. Um, I ask them, "Do you imagine doing it every day?" So they say, um, "No, it's a great opportunity." I said, "It's a great opportunity, definitely, no doubt about it. It's a good business model. The unit economics works really well. But do you imagine doing it every day, say like 5 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours? Do you imagine thinking about it every day? Do you imagine talking to the potential clients every day? Do you imagine delivering those projects every day, right? So if you can imagine that, and if you feel really good about it, right? For example, people who really like writing don't have to push themselves to write. There is a natural way of putting things together. Sometimes you need a bit of validation from your clients. It's fine, but there is a natural flair of writing which is coming a habit to you. I mean, you spend a lot of time reading and writing. That's very natural. So you might ask, hey, writing is not a great opportunity. People don't pay for writing. But if you improvise on that game consistently and try to structure that activity, there is an opportunity. But most of the people would look at 4 or 5 areas, many areas. Say, hey, I'm good at this, I'm good at that. You know, trying to do many things, right? That's where I've not seen any gig a specialist doing many things. They go deep into one area. For example, somebody wants to do video editing. I don't think they don't get any time for anything else. They will be the best video editor if they focus on their tool, the software, and the work which they do on a daily basis. And when you do it on a daily basis, things improve. So starting is the most easiest thing in a gig. Let me tell you that. And I would say that there is nothing should stop you from starting that idea which you have. And in Kerala, what I've seen is everybody I mean, anything which we do is part of our identity, isn't it? So tomorrow, you are stopping to do something and starting a new activity, right? The biggest resistance comes not from the outside, not from your customers, not from your family, not from your friends or anybody else, but from within you. Why? Because there is a huge resistance inside you, which you call as a sense of identity. So far you have been working with a company, and that's the image which you have got. You have updated in your LinkedIn about what you're doing, and a lot of people know what you're doing, and suddenly you feel that, hey, I want to do something which I've always been thinking, but maybe this is the right point in time to start that. I'm adding some skills which can help me to do that. But the problem is, I have a problem of sense of identity. The sense of identity is a crucial problem for every gig professional, because freelancers, the word freelancer itself is, make you feel that this is not a serious game. So, but that is changing right now. India, for that matter, um, in the last 3 years, because of the digital services thing, um, created a lot of professional experts, skilled professionals who are doing work remotely, independently, and based on flexible contracts. And that too, these are big because I am in my last 2 years, I worked with many independent experts. They are gig people, they're short-term contractors. I mean, they're skilled people, and I love working with skilled people because they come up with a lot of value because they are putting their skin in the game, their reputation in the game, and their own identity in the game. So it's so beautiful to work with them. They are not reluctant people. They're not lazy people. They are people who value their word, work on what they want. So there is a sense of work ethic which is required to become an independent professional. I don't want even to call people like that as freelancers. They are independent professionals who are choosing to work independently with different clients, different customers, on a particular fee, on projects which they can do on a time bound manner, and they learn a lot of things about their area very deeply. Look at the learning comparison between an employee and an independent professional. I would say employee needs to be pushed to learn, whereas an independent professional, if he's a good guy, I would say 20% of the professionals on the independent sector is like very good. They constantly update themselves and they're far ahead of the usual employee leaders we see. So that's my experience, and I've been vouching for this for a long period of time, and that's why we're doing this program. Now, coming back on, we said the habits, the natural thing which you have in you, which can grow and become, something like you want to do, what you want to do on a daily basis, right? The second thing, the biggest thing, is about the decision you take. So many times the gigs or the point of independent professionals come out of something called experimentation, right? People get into new things when they experiment something and they become successful. They get paid for it. They get a good review. They get a recommendation. They get a referral, and then they get repeat business, and then the cycle continues, right? So this is the cycle which most of the people are expecting. Now, if you don't get that immediately, you would feel that this is not for me. This is not at all for me, right? So this feeling can actually make someone probably discouraged on pursuing that particular thing which there. For example, you have been learning, say, like yoga for a long time, and you feel that I would be a good yoga instructor, right? And you have been keeping yourself fit. I'm just giving an example. Keeping yourself fit and been living with, pretty much yogic principles, and you have a decent image, and then you say that I'm going to start something called teaching yoga online, or doing yoga counseling for people, how to do that, for beginners. And then you try to start giving it to people, and then you don't get much response, right? What do usually? We usually say that, hey, this is not for me, people are not willing to pay. You come up with many reasons for why you don't want to do it, right? Instead, if you think like, hey, of course, I'm skilled, I'm passionate, I'm onto the game, but why are not customers coming in? So this is where every independent professional should focus on something called why people should approach you. So this is where the personal branding matters a lot. For a gig professional, personal branding is so important. From where you are buying it from, right? We all want to buy it from the experts. We all want to buy it from people who have spent a lot of time on sharpening that skill, right? That's when we get real value for money, right? Remember the example of a doctor. We love going to a doctor. We don't even uh, ask you the credentials. We just go there and pay the fee and get it, right? So similarly, it took a long time for them to do that, but here in the gig economy, it takes a few weeks or probably even months to get onto the game. I mean, that's most important. If you have the tools, if you have the resources, if you have a structure to do it. Most of the independent professionals fail because of only one reason, that's the lack of discipline and the focus on what they're doing. So I don't want to sound it very difficult, but the point is how to start that, right? I said starting is the most easiest part of any gig. Now, how do we start that? Is to find your micro niche. So when I say micro niche, an area which you are really good at and you enjoy doing consistently and motivated, and of course may even do without getting any money. Remember this. The reason why I'm telling you is this: the point when we start doing to enjoy the whole process, even if you don't get paid like what we have to get, right? For example, if somebody must be paid for 10,000, you're okay doing it for 5,000 rupees. It's not to reduce your value, but you enjoy doing it, right? That's why I said every gig should be something like you enjoy. There is another kind of gigs which are like skill based gigs. For example, you talk about digital services, all are skill based gigs. You have the social media designers, content producers, video editors, search engine optimization experts, right? Lead generation experts, right? Product marketers. These are all gigs which now coming up. Now, for these, there are very very specific skills which you can learn. I would say the Gigsters' biggest resource is Udemy. Like I always say, recommend to people that if you want to start something and then sharpen your skill, go to Udemy and then go to that specific area which you want to learn. You can spend 5 to 15 hours of learning content. And then you can start doing that and
Hello, sir. What happened? Hello. Hello. So, guys, we seem to be having a technical glitch. I guess there must have been an issue with this internet connection. We'll see. Just wait a few minutes and we'll get back to you very soon. Stay tuned. So, hey guys, yeah, he's going to be joining in a few seconds. So, I'm so sorry for the delay and for the glitch, but it happens during these times. So, stay patient. Hello. So guys, we seem to be having a technical glitch. Okay, so you're back.
I'm sorry for this because there was some problem, yeah. Anyway, I'm using my phone now, so things are better now. Yeah,
Okay.
great. Yeah. So I feel independent professionals have future, and there are a lot of people who are very senior, who have been working with big companies, are moving into the gig economy, and it's going to get we're going to get more skilled, more valuable people from now on, and skill will be the key thing. So we cannot expect employment to help you in this new area, and people are going to have more time spent on improving their skills. So while we do these gigs, it's very important that many people have two different ways of looking at it. So certain set of people have very clear level of customers, a customer base which can actually help them to get more customers, or maybe more work. The other set of people are very extrovert kind of people. They go out and do a lot of sales, marketing, portfolio. They show the portfolio, and also what we call as a showing of proof, right? So people value proof of your work. And I mean, if you look at working with a company, the first thing is they would look at is during an interviews to look at your resume and then look at the proof of the work you do. If you're a programmer, they would like to see your code. If you're a designer, they would like to see some of your designs. If you're a video editor, they would like to see some of your video work. For that matter, everybody wants to see the proof of work. So starting your gig and doing it is more about creating valuable proof of work. And how do we do that? So probably you have already done a lot of work in that area, and you're getting into starting an independent business. It's very clear that many people do not spend time to collate the work which they have already done, the value which they have provided to many people. So my suggestion here is, if you want to start now, and start confidently and start with a lot of enthusiasm and whole thing, it would be very good to look at your own work, what you've done, the best work. So if you've done 100 units of work, select maybe 10 best units of work and showcase as it the work you have done, the truest expression of you, right? Whatever you do. And then you say, these are the things. For example, you are a event manager. You can show 10 best events which you've done, and that makes you a better guy, right? If you're a photographer, of course, people select the best 10 pictures of what they've done. They would have taken hundreds and thousands of pictures, but they look at the 10 pictures which were like breakthrough moments in their life, the pictures which went viral, or the videos which really got appreciated by many people. So that's where the sweet spot lies. People want to see your best work. And independent professionals will have to do a lot of effort in terms of um, showing that proof to as many people as possible to get valuable projects, right? So this is where it's a combination of different skills coming together. You need the skill to deliver the work. You need the skill to sell the work to people, and that's why many people start their business and approach their friends and relatives. And the friends, the inner circle, they have a problem. The inner circle will believe you when the whole world believes in you, right? So I would say to start with somebody who is not in inner circle. I mean, that's my suggestion. Probably you have a different way of looking at it, and then prove the work outside your circle and show that proof to your inner circle, which is more valuable than trying to convince your friends and relatives and your people to say that, hey, I've started something, can you do that, can you do this, and what happens is it becomes a struggle inside you when they don't respond, because they're not really sure what you're up to or what you can do. So this is an experience of many people, many professionals. They try to contact people whom they already know, first of all, and then sometimes they feel very bad, they get discouraged by it. So everybody, the inner circle wants to know the the real proof of work which you've done. And it needn't be to the work you've done to your inner circle, it can be to the outer circle. So this point is very important, because that will liberate you from the problem of identity involved with what you're going to do. So many people are going through an immense struggle to see, hey, what is life holding to me? I've been employed, I've been doing a business, but now I have to start doing something totally differently, or maybe I want to start a gig totally differently from what I've been doing. These are, a lot of struggle with people. So to solve the problem of identity, right? Start with outer circle, because outer circle do not know you. They may be the first time, they may try to work with you. You do a good work for them, they are very independent, they're unbiased, and give you a good review and happy with the work. You show that proof of work as the output which you've created, and then you stack up the output. It's very important to stack up the output, because the portfolio is the key thing, and many times we forget what you do. So that's why it's very important to create an Excel sheet. I always create an Excel sheet to note down the significant things which you've done during the day, maybe 2 points. And after 1 month, you can go to the list and find out certain things which will surprise you, and you should use that particular information to pitch with a new client, a new customer, or to come up with an offer, or to come up with a social media promotion, or a story to talk about yourself, that you can do this. So this is so independent professionals need to be always thinking on how you can create better value to people, and also most important, to showcase that value. The other thing is that we don't have, like, if you're an independent professional, you don't have any team members. Probably you might have a couple of team members, like, to assist you, but other than that, most of the time, like 80% of your time, you're spending with yourself. So in an office, you have your manager always trying to talk to you and coordinate with you, your peers, your other departments, and many things are there. What do you call the holding environment, right? You have the holding environment, which is pretty active, and you're part of it. You feel belong to. But when you're working independently, the biggest challenge for you is not to do the business, but to do it alone, and do it sometimes spending a lot of time with yourself. And this is a time that many people would feel, am I worthy enough? Am I doing the right thing? How do I go about doing it better? Are there people similar to me? Right? Are there people who are doing the same thing as me in my context? Right? These are things, questions which always come. So that's why it's important to always sometimes be part of communities, right? Be part of communities which can actually make you feel that there are people similar to you. There are people who are doing the same job as you. Sometimes they are better than us, sometimes they're not good as us, but there are a lot of people who are doing this. I mean, that sense of community can actually motivate you. I mean, the reason why many people join companies is that they cannot handle it alone, right? They need a larger team, they want to see it. But with this an extraordinary scenario, I think uh, most of the companies are now moving totally remotely, and some of them would have strict social distancing norms where only 50% of the people will come to their office. I mean, it's as good as like, you are all socially distanced at office. You can't go and do the usual social bonding exercises. So the world is moving totally from a physical working, close working, to remote working and independent working. So we realize this, and I think each one of you are realizing this. Maybe you need a bit more time to realize this, but this is going to be happening, right? And that's why uh, we are doing this session primarily to tell you about a little bit of about the future. Maybe in the next 3 months, 6 months, things will evolve to become more of doing such short projects which can pay your, you know, uh, which can get you some income, right? So what are the areas which are there where independent work is possible? And many people think that, hey, how do I find that? How do I find opportunities to do independent work, and how do I start that? If you look at digital services, is one of the biggest areas I would know, because you can work remotely. You don't have to go out. You need a software, a laptop, and then you can learn that as well. So if you don't know how to develop a website, I think you just have to uh, commit 5 hours to learn this, and you can develop your own website. You don't have to pay somebody to get your website. So that it's very, very simple. uh, put your 5 hours, and you have a course in Udemy which can talk about how to start your website, and then you have a website, and you can pay yourself for doing that job. On promoting yourself on any kind of marketing, I mean, using marketing, you have to promote yourself. You have to produce your own content, right? How do you produce content? So you depend on someone else, try to persuade them. It's not happening. So you, like our prime minister said, we have to be self-reliant, not just in buying Indian products, but also have to be self-reliant in terms of getting most of the work done by ourselves. So nowadays we don't have housemates. uh, you know uh, they can't come, so we have figured out how to clean, how to wash, how to cook, right? Similarly, a new set of tasks will come to us, wherein um, we have to do a lot of things by ourselves, say website, social media content, videos, sales, um, and then of course your core activity, right? The core things which you're doing. So I've been talking to some of the independent professionals these days, and I ask them, what are you doing? And they say they are learning new skills, because these skills are not coming anyway, through people. You have to learn that and use it. So it's like what you call DIY, do it yourself skills. And digital services are mostly DIY, do it yourselves. If you want someone's help to write content, it's going to be very difficult unless you have a very structured way. You need 15 blogs in a month and all those things. But otherwise, you can manage to write your own stuff every day. You just have to focus on getting that done. Unless you are a great people manager, unless you're a great people manager who can inspire, who can persuade people to get most of your job done. And very, very few people are like that. Rest of them all have to upskill themselves to get into this. So I would say structuring, how to structure your gig, right? I'll leave that most important point. Many people don't ask this question. This is what I'm doing, but how do I structure the gig? I'll give you an example of website design and development. Many people say, "Hey, I do website design and development." Right? It's a very simple way. I mean, you can't differentiate yourselves, anyway. I do photography. I mean, a lot, thousands of people are doing photography. Hey, I do write content, right? These are plain services which you're talking about, but how to structure that particular service? If you say that I can write 1,000-word blog which can help you to get more traffic to your website, then the business owner is interested. I can build a website which can help you to double the traffic you're getting right now, say like 1,000 per day. I can make it 2,000 per day. Those kind of specific details can actually inspire a business owner to talk to you. The way in which we have to structure the gig is that it's not just an activity, it's an activity intended for an outcome, right? So if you tell the activity, people are not interested. If you tell the activity plus the possible or a potential outcome with a price, that becomes a structured gig, right? So recently I saw a guy, who sent me an email. I mean, just a small email saying that I can do the audit of your website and can give you 8 recommendations, which can be done by yourself in 1 month, and you can improve your traffic by 500%. That's the promise. But he's charging only 2,000 rupees for that activity, and it takes probably 20 minutes for him to do that. If that kind of structuring can be done, I mean, it's priced well, activity is taking only 20 minutes for him, and it has got an intended outcome and a promise, right? So any activity, any gig can be structured like this with activity plus outcome. That will differentiate yourselves or your activities from other activities, right? Tomorrow you can't just say, hey, I do videos. You should be able to say that I can do videos, and I will also promote it to your relevant audience and get specific reach, like 10,000 people who are your customers. That increases the value of the project from, at least 2 times, because people don't want activity, people want outcome. So this is one simple idea which I want to share with you on structuring the gig. So it can be about yourself. For example, if it is weight loss or counseling, if counseling need to be very outcome based thing. You can't just say, I'll do 1 hour counseling for you. What is the outcome? With that 1 hour of counseling, I recommend 3 things which you can do very easily in next 7 days, which can improve your emotional wellness. 7 days, you do it, easy activities, 3 things, 3 recommendations. So similarly, if you can quantify your activity, if you can make it attractive so that the client feels better about it, that's going to change the way people look at you instead of just doing that specific activity. So with that, I leave to some of the questions. It's a very big area, and many people have to figure out themselves what really works for them. But most important thing I told you is the discipline and the focus, because you don't have a holding environment around you. You just have to hold yourself so tight so that you're focused on what you're doing. And being an independent professional is like a very, very um, useful thing for yourself, because once you start doing it, there is no looking back. You're going to really enjoy it. So I leave it to the questions, CV.
Hi, KK. Good morning.
Good morning, CV.
So in between, we had a little bit of technical hits, but then
Sorry for that. Really sorry for that. It's from my
no.
side. It's from my side. Yeah.
Right. So I would appreciate you, or I would like to congratulate you for the comprehensive review of this whole concept of gig. Interestingly, I was just googling for the word meaning of gig. I don't know whether you did that.
Okay.
The word gig actually means it's a carriage, which is a small carriage, which is a 2-wheel carriage led by a horse. Okay.
Okay.
And the other meaning is it's a small boat which it's a very small boat which goes very fast and swiftly. Okay. So I'm just wondering how we can connect that to the concept of gig economy or the gig kind of jobs that we're talking today. Of course,
Right.
again, historically, this word was used as a slang initially for taking up small pieces of jobs, like pieceworks of job by musicians.
Yeah.
And then later, the musician community from there it came to every community, and right now we are in a phase where everybody is having some kind of a gig to make some quick money, and everybody is looking forward for that. And I think it's a wonderful topic for you to discuss today. And I also like the flow, the comprehensive coverage in terms of you started off with how to identify your gig, which is your your natural self. What is that passion that brings out your what is that quick skill which you can actually sell. So looking at that skill which can sell is the most important thing, right? So that
Yep.
is one. From there, of course, I also like the fact you spoke about the identity crisis that sometimes we get whenever I think this is quite common, especially for people who have been associated with big organizations, big designations, and fancy designations and stuff, and suddenly what do you do? I'm making websites. So that
Yeah.
probably will not be very appealing for some people. But the
True.
fact is that, as you said, the whole economy is going towards outcome based and output based probably remuneration in future, right? We may not have people hired by big companies or small companies in terms of having uh, adding to the overall overhead and salary budget in a month. So coming back to what I basically wanted to know, look at more is more about one thing. What I again noticed in your presentation is that as you travel from what is skill, what is gig, and then coming to what is how you can enter into it, how you identify it, and then the most important thing came, which is how to sell it. Right, that's where most of the people have problems. Identifying how to connect with people who are doing similar. And I also especially love the fact that you should not first try to sell your gig among your friends and family. I agree to it, I vouch to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it is very natural that they will say that no it is going the response might be little so
Right.
it may dampen your spirits initially, so
Right.
definitely.
You always have to prove on the outside circle before you come to
Yes,
the inner circle. Yeah.
before you come to the inner circle. I mean, it is a very comprehensive presentation from your end, KK. What I probably we can discuss further is about, you know, for somebody who is totally clueless about, how to go about what are the major areas of gigs that is possible right now. For example, I'll give you an example. Last day, a student, he messaged, he said he had done hotel management, and as you know, hotels are like shut down for 2 months. He's jobless, and he's got because they are all contract workers, they don't have any salary or anything if they don't work properly. So when if they don't work, so um, there are going to be various industries which may bring out, or which may release a lot of human resource because they don't have the traditional kinds of jobs. Now this released human resources have to identify, let's say, what can sell, right? Which are the areas which will sell in future, in the coming, at least in the coming 1 or 2 years. So that is one area I think, if we can discuss, or probably if you can share some ideas. Of course,
Yeah.
one you said is digital service, but there are other areas also, probably, right? What do you think about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, like you said, the hospitality, the travel, it will take a bit of more time, but a new kind of jobs will emerge, right? It won't be the same. So we had a set of roles in a usual hospitality industry, which will change from now. I mean, there will be a lot of people who will be moving away from that industry because of its long-term impact, by the whole thing. So there is a lot of rethinking happening on what to do. But what I have noticed in hospitality, guys, is that there are different segments. Like one is the front office, who are like highly good communicators, and then we have the F&B and all those people who are operational oriented, right? And then we
Right.
have the production, right, where people can come to cloud kitchen based businesses. So there will be what do you call the when one industry is broken, right? there will be the benefits of that will come to some other industries, and the people will get redeployed to new areas, right?
Correct.
That's been happening always. I've always noticed, even before, like hospitality guys are like extremely courteous and polite, and they speak comparatively better English, right?
Correct.
So that can actually help them to get into I've seen that into financial services, into banking, into insurance, into sales, into marketing,
Correct.
because they have a very very soft way of dealing with people because they've been trained to do like that. So the inherent skills in each industry, if you really look at it, leaving apart the industry dynamics,
Hmm.
that is so beautiful, which can be used in other areas, right?
Exactly.
um,
Yeah,
uh,
that's
and,
right.
and it all depends. I mean, it's the way we look at the problem. If you look at the problem, hey, hospitality industry is broken, thousands of people are losing jobs. But the point is, of course, the industry is going through that, but it doesn't mean that they cannot be redeployed or they cannot find anything else, right? And for that matter, most of the industries at this point in time, which is broken, is been always paying the lowest salaries compared to everything else, right?
Right.
Look at travel, hospitality. All these areas have been the lowest pay guys when it comes to. So they can redeploy. They can rethink now on what are the new skills of the future, right?
Right.
So the decision which you have taken 5 years back. So what happens in the in a young man's life or in a young woman's life is that the crucial decisions are all in their 20 to 25, right? And then you have to suffer the whole thing in 35, 40 and all. So here, if they've taken that decision at 18 because they didn't know much about it, and now they're like in their 20s, they can look at the world much differently and reskill themselves in fast. They can really do that, in say like 1 year they can do, and then come up with a completely new course of direction. And I believe it strongly because it's a good thing which happened to them, I would say.
Right.
It's a very good thing.
What I would like to add there is that probably again that is open for discussion. You mentioned about micro niche, right? To identify that small area which you can actually sell and make money. But then there is also a risk with it. For example, you are, let's say, you are talking about the yoga instructor or as well. Imagine you are a yoga instructor, and imagine one fine day the whole world stops doing yoga. So there is a possibility that you are too focused at that on that one micro niche, and then suddenly you don't get that opportunity, right? Or maybe you may even face a situation where you were so far selling your yoga classes, and suddenly there is a competitor who comes and gives the whole yoga classes for free. So how do you manage these kinds of competition, right? These are the chances of failures when it comes to gig. I mean, I would definitely like to compare a gig as running your own business, right? The only
Absolutely.
difference is that so far you were probably selling a product or a service, putting together so many things, but here you yourself as the product or the service, right? Or as the provider. So you are actually doing a business. You are the person who needs to be sold. That's I would call differentiates a gig
Yeah.
from the whole concept of bigger business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. See,
So
like what I meant about micro niche. I mean, let me clarify that. So it's a combination of two different skills which make you a micro niche guy, right? For example, I give you an example of a Kathakali artist learning French,
right,
right? Because if you look at Kathakali artists, 95% of them can't speak English.
correct.
Only 5% of them know. And I know all those 5% have been traveling across the world.
Okay, I understand.
So even though they're core Kathakali artists, what really made them successful is the combination of their English speaking,
Right,
right? So this example I gave in one of the webinars was like somebody asked me, hey, how can we use skills? Because there are a lot of people with same skills, right? So if there are a lot of people with common skills, like for example, in Kerala itself, there are 25,000 Kathakali artists. In Alappuzha itself, there are more than 400. Okay. So how do one young man? So there is a story where a young man actually differentiated himself from the rest of the artists, because rest of the artists were like 20, 25 years of veterans in Kathakali, and he was just 27, and even then he has been going through 10 years of Kathakali thing. And he asked one manager of a hotel, hey man, I'm not getting, I'm only getting 1,000 rupees for 2 hours performance. I can't live like this. I have to do something. So the manager said, you're a nice guy. I think you should learn French and you can get paid much better. So he took 1 year. He took 1 year to learn French. And by the time he finished that, and 60% of your tourists are French tourists, and they were so delighted by the fact that a Kathakali artist is
Can speak
explaining and
French and they can
translating.
relate and understand it better.
They
Excellent.
were like surprised, and the point was like to just quantify the whole thing. His payment from 1,000 uh, became 6,000, because
Correct.
most of the hotels want him to be
Right.
there whenever the French tourists are there.
Right.
So combination of skills is what the make the micro niche much sweeter. When it comes to
So
what we call a
that makes you the unique person who and you eliminate a lot of other competitions, right?
absolutely, absolutely. Imagine the deadly combination of skill and sale. Like you said, if you have the skill and you can deliver it, and you're a great salesman, you are like you're the top end of the game, right? Even though you are slightly lesser in terms of skill compared to other skilled people, because you are too good at selling it.
I think talking about sales, selling skills is going to be one of the key skills for the future. Don't you think so? Because everybody has to learn how to sell. Because this was something which most people were reluctant to learn, and people also felt that I cannot sell. People also frowned about being a salesperson. But the reality is that now we are in a world where you should know how to sell, right? That is one
So
thing.
far, sales was like an extrovert game. Okay,
Yeah,
so I'll tell you why now it is an introvert's game also. Now, many people feel sales is absolutely for the extroverts, people who love socializing and all those things. But
right.
there is a historic opportunity here. It's never happened in the history that in the last 5 years, even if you're an introvert, even if you don't want to talk to anyone, you can do amazing sales through inbound marketing, right? If
Right.
you're too good at inbound marketing, if you're focused on, then I've seen that. I've seen CEOs and
Hmm.
entrepreneurs who not even go out for meeting people, or they hate networking events, everything, but they developed a
Inbound marketing.
beautiful, let me call it the honey trap of content marketing,
Yeah.
the SEO and the lead
Right.
generation, the Facebook ads. So they have created different inbound channels to their business. And they've
So
created beautiful content, collateral, videos to attract customers to them. And when customer is coming to you, then you don't have to go around doing all this hangama. You can take your time, tell them what the service is all about. So I think if you are an introvert, if you are not comfortable outside, you still have a lot of opportunity in sales. You can sell the product, but on a different channel.
right. Now I'm going to ask one more last question. Probably we've just crossed the time. So this question is not on the candidate perspective, but on the company or the employer perspective. Let's say you have a small project that needs to be done, and you have 10 different applicants coming in. Now the selection of the right person for that job again becomes a little challenging aspect again, because you are into recruitment and HR industry. I think would you like to add something on that?
Very simple. Show your proof and show your enthusiasm, and then you are in.
Okay.
Because most of the time, people make it so difficult to work with them. They want to sell their product, but if you try to work with them, they will make it difficult, right?
Ah, right.
So
Right.
I've always been telling my team members also. So if somebody wants to work with us, it should be so convenient for them. It should. I mean, we should not create barriers just because they came in, right? So make it easy to work with them. So I think the cultural mindset, we've always been talking about cultural mindset a lot about entrepreneurship. Here, people feel a customer is coming to exploit you. A
Mm.
customer is coming to take away the whole thing. No, the customer is coming so that you can have more of such customers coming in, right? So one customer coming in, getting the value, more people coming in. That's how the business is, right? So we should be comfortable with the idea of working with people more often, connecting with people more often, showing them their proof, and also most importantly showing the enthusiasm, because then they feel, hey, this man really wants to work with me, right? The feeling that this person wants to work with me.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's wonderful. Like 2 points. One is, so I think we can again go back to the person who wants to provide a gig service. All you have to do is to two things: build your portfolio and also show your enthusiasm. Show that you're passionate about doing this, right?
Absolutely.
And
And then
that's what employers would anyway want to, right? All right. So I think we are done for this episode. Chelsea, from my side, I really enjoyed this topic, and this is something which even offline, we used to discuss on this topic, because the future is going to be definitely gig, and it is a great opportunity even for women, because Prayaana primarily works with women. So women who are multi-skilled, they have different kinds of capabilities, who wants to work from home, they want to balance their family and their needs and requirements. All you have to do is to what KK Krishna Kumar has given a formula, or rather the structured way of looking at how you can actually engage into a gig opportunity. And it's all about again upskilling and finding that micro niche. I just love that concept of micro niche from you, KK. So yeah, thank you so much for joining in this. And any last
Thanks, and
points?
wonderful. I'm really sorry for the glitch in between. Yeah, thank you.
That's okay. It happens. It is not your fault. It is the internet's fault.
Thank you.
All right. So Chelsea, over to you.
Okay, so with that, we're coming to an end to today's session. And since you guys interacted, I think the interaction was like super exciting to watch. It's a lot of energy when two, exciting people are interacting. And, with your interaction, you guys basically just covered up whatever queries that might have arisen. So yeah, so we're going to just go into the feedback session now.
Before Chelsea,
Yep.
before,
Yeah.
before we conclude, I think we should have probably have the next level of this topic. The next level of looking at how this the skills that is required for gig, and something and how somebody has to enhance their skills that is required for gig working. And probably we can have a future session with KK on that end, I guess. Yeah, that is a request.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh. So now we're going to go back to the feedback section like I already announced. So yeah, do share your feedback on our YouTube channel as a comment and we'll get back to you. For every at gmail.com. Now this is a poster for the schedule for the coming week. We have a very filled week. So on Monday we have a session on the topic immunity building, facts and myths. This is going to be conducted by Vambat Menon, who's the CEO of Neurviva Wellness Clinic. Now he's come before, so he's not like a familiar face. Now on Tuesday we have a session on the topic thriving is a new normal. This is going to be taken by Dr. D. Prashant, founder at Asintis. He's an interest partner. On Wednesday we have a session on the topic 6 ways to be strong-minded. This session is going to be taken by Professor Dr. Ushi Mohandas, who's the CEO of Dr. Ushi's Wisdom Works, founder the Mind Workshop. On Thursday, we have a session on the topic Raise Your Personal Vibration Using Sound as a Tool. This session is going to be taken by Priyanka J. Patel, who's a sound practitioner, founder, Sounder Healing India. On Friday, we have a session on the topic Unlearn to Learn, the fuel for your career crossroad decisions. This session is going to be taken by Mr. Amit Vincent, founder and director of Apposite Learning Solutions India and Stipple Solutions USA. So on Saturday, we have a very special session. So we're going to be having sessions by women achievers under the name My Prayaana every week from now on. So it's going to be an exciting story, hearing women talk about, their journey, the things they had to overcome, what achievement feels like, what destination feels like, what they see their future in. So yes, this session is going to be taken by Aparna Gopal, who's the founder of Elephant in the Room. So all these sessions are going to be from 8 to 9 p.m., our usual time. So yeah, see you guys on Monday. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, do not forget about our intern call. We are looking for interns, people with a passion for digital marketing. We'll be basically handling all of our social media accounts, and you'll also be doing a little bit of content development and also be a community manager at that. And the thing is, then as an intern here, I can tell you it's a wonderful experience. It's a place where you get a lot of opportunities and you get to learn a lot. So in case you are interested, or if you know someone who's interested, please drop your resume at joinprayaana@gmail.com or contact us via the number 8590339393. You can also find the poster or the contact details at our FB page, so you can just go there and drop the resume. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys on Monday, and do not forget to subscribe to us. Subscribe, like, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Stay home, stay safe.